Yeah, that's what we.
Yeah, okay.
Well, we are in the city of first, so first time for everything.
We won't be done by today.
It's okay. We'll get done.
We will.
We'll get done.
Here's the logo.
He's gotta go somewhere at noon. I gotta go somewhere at
That's
one.
what they set up.
Your typewriter won't.
Vivid like this.
Yeah.
You start with once they get that done,
First time for.
then we'll be.
That's true.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but Jason said something. So
Like
it's
the polo.
Yep.
I wouldn't work that.
Delayed.
Yeah, that's what.
Repeat yourself. The hitch, they're married.
Okay, we're back. We're getting some background noise. Bill, I'm not sure where that's coming from, but we're getting some background noise. Jason, I assume you're muted?
Here we go.
That may have been it. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, Jason, can you hear us? Just shake your head, thumbs up. Okay. Ready to go. All right. I apologize, you all. We had about 10 minutes there of technical difficulties, and our sound was out for those that will be listening to it on YouTube. We are back in regular session now, and we did not conduct any business during the time that we were off the air. Okay, we will begin with Preston Miles and the Memorandum of Agreement for Solarize Boyle.
With great anxiety over this keyboard in front of me.
If you want, just hand that to, yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
There you go.
To answer any questions you may have and to request the signature of the memorandum of agreement.
Okay, I know our county attorney has looked at it.
Right, yes, I looked at it, and I mean, there's just a couple of minor changes that they agreed to fix everything that I asked. One of them was to put it on the city website, and we don't have any control of that. It's our government website, so we changed that. And just referring to us as Will County Fiscal Court was another. And then the main one would be on the first page. It talks about, there's a second. Now the first page is like under witness, the third whereas, where it says the Solarize Boyle County program is designed to only promote and encourage the use of photovoltaic arrays on residential and non-residential properties, because we haven't, we are planning on potentially amending our solar ordinance. I felt when it talked about non-residential properties there, about promoting and encouraging that could be at issue, so I just put, and in no way promotes or encourages solar farms, solar parks, or solar power stations that harvest solar power. And they accepted that. So with that, I'm good now.
Okay, all right. Motion to approve the Memorandum of Agreement between the Boyle County Fiscal Court and Solarize Boyle. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Magistrate Ellis, a second by Magistrate Sleeper. Any discussion on the Memorandum of Agreement?
Judge, once again, just for the record, I want the public to know, because I get calls constantly on this from my constituents, since there's such a large area that I don't even like the term solar farms, because they're not farms at all. And with the historic fencing that's all over the county, the beautiful stone fences and the pristine countryside that we have, I want the public to know that this is not one of those huge multi-hundred, if not thousands, of solar panels in a large field. This is individuals and farmers and some small businesses who might be going in and wanting this for their own use. That clarification just has to be made because some people might misinterpret what they see on the internet.
Okay,
So thank you.
thank you, appreciate that. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
Do I come and pick that up?
We will get it signed for you, and then Katina can contact you. I think I have your number. If not, if you want to give it to her, she can call you.
516-8336.
And let you know when it's ready. All right? Thank you so much, Preston. Appreciate your work. Okay, next is our National HR Day Proclamation, and we just happen to have our HR personnel with us today. How about that? All right, so I'd like to read the proclamation for National Human Resources Professional Day. Whereas human resource professionals play a crucial role in any organization, from recruiting and developing talent to managing employee benefits and resolving disputes, and whereas Human Resource Professional Day is an important opportunity to recognize the value of HR professionals as well as their hard work and dedication to their roles, and whereas HR professionals strive to create a positive and productive workplace by crafting policies that protect employees' rights and promote diversity, fairness, work-life balance, and much more. And whereas Human Resource Professional Day helps remind employers of the importance of creating a safe and inclusive working environment for all employees. And now, therefore, be it resolved that as the Boyle County Judge Executive, I do hereby recognize and declare September 26, 2023 as National HR Appreciation Day by recognizing Steve Griffin and Shannon Greene. We thank you for your commitment of creating the best working conditions for Boyle County employees. So, round of applause. And we have a certificate for each one of you. You all are valuable to Boyle County. Shannon played a dual role for many, many years as HR and payroll clerk. And then she was able to give up some of that duty to Steve when Steve was hired. And so we just appreciate the both of you. If you all want to step up, we have one for Shannon. It's a certificate of appreciation and grateful recognition of your years of service and contributions to the citizens of Boyle County. And Steve, you have one as well, in grateful recognition of your years of service and contributions to the citizens of Boyle County.
Thank you.
So thank you. Get my
Thank you.
stickers, and you know Julie wants a photo.
Oh, yeah.
Photo.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Shannon, I cut your arm off.
It's okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you all. Okay, next is we have a speaker from Boyle County Farm Bureau, and I think Francis Ellis is going to introduce our speaker.
Yes, Spencer Guinn made a remarkably enlightening presentation at a Farm Bureau breakfast that the judge and several of us went to 6 or 8 weeks ago, Spencer. And I just felt that it was important that we all understand just what an incredible economic engine, cultural experience, and long-term commitment our farmers and their families have all throughout Boyle County, not only in terms of products here in the county, here in central Kentucky, here in the United States, but worldwide. And with that, Spencer, I don't want to take any of your thunder.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
fine.
welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate the introduction. As he said, my name is Spencer Guinn. I farm here in Boyle County. I'm not a native of Boyle County, but I've been here for 11 years now. My wife, myself, and my 2 little daughters farm off of Quarry Road. And I've had the pleasure of serving as the Boyle County Farm Bureau president for, I think, the last 4 years. So I appreciate you all welcoming me here today and giving me the opportunity to share a few details and statistics about our great county. A few of the things that I would like to share is just, before I get into the numbers, is just say that Boyle County really is a pretty strong agricultural community. We're a small county in landmass, but we've got a very diverse group of farmers here in this county. that are very good stewards of the land, and I think try to incorporate their communities into that as well. So a few numbers that I wanted to share with you all that I shared the other day. And this is information from the United States Department of Agriculture. They do an ag census every 5 years. So the last one that was conducted and has been released was in 2017. So these numbers are a little dated. The most recent one would be for the 2022 year, but that information is still being compiled, so it'll probably be out here in another year or so. But in 2017, there was 602 farms in Boyle County. And that number was down 3% from the previous census in 2012. The land acreage that was in agricultural production was 88,642 acres with an average farm size of 147 acres. As far as producers that are doing that, we have a total of 488 full-time farm owners in Boyle County, and then a total of 97 part-time owners. So I think that's a pretty strong statement in and of itself. You know, I'll share a little bit about what I do as well. I'm one of those part-time farm owners myself. It feels like 2 full-time jobs sometimes, but anyway, I'll share a little information about that here in a minute, because we've seen, you know, it's more prevalent that we see part-time farmers in communities than full-time. So that number, I think, speaks volume for Boyle County. We hire a total of 309 farm laborers, and the payroll that's given to those farm workers is $1.7 million. That was in the year 2017. So, and of the 309, there were 20 that were migrant laborers, H-2A laborers that come up from south of our border. So I think, again, that's another very strong number. As far as dollars at the farm gate, I want to start with the expenses and then tell you the products that were sold in our county. The total farm production expenses for all of Boyle County farms was $30,843,000. Flip that around, and that's spread over the 602 farms that I mentioned. On the flip side of that, if we look at the farm gate sales that come out of Boyle County, there's $31,338,000. So the numbers are very large. Agriculture is playing with a lot of money, but it's a lot of money that comes in, and then it's already got a home once it comes in. It's going to pay bills, service debt, spread it through our community, and hopefully have a positive impact on everyone that we deal with. So that's a few of the numbers that I wanted to share. I also wanted to share some statistics on our farm sizes. So I mentioned the 602 farmers with the 147 acre average farm size. Of that, Boyle County is split up between cropland, pasture, and wood. Cropland would be row crops, tobacco, corn, soybeans, wheat, that kind of thing. 41% of our county is used for crops. 35% of it is used for pasture land. And then one of the ones that I remember being in a meeting with the Center for Rural Development in Somerset, that's where I grew up, whenever I just come out of college, and they were asking me to talk about agriculture, and I neglected to mention woods, timber. And that's also a valuable part of this county as well, with 14% of our land base being in woodlands. So that's some other numbers that I wanted to share. The last thing that I wanted to mention is how those crops split up and how we compare in our state. So of the livestock sector, we've got, of course, poultry and eggs is a very small part of our county as far as number of producers. Cattle and calves, that's the big one. Boyle County is ranked number 11 out of 120 counties in beef production.
And Spencer, what are we, the 8th or 9th large or smallest county in the entire?
That's right, in the entire Commonwealth.
So that statistic, when you really look at the size of our county, that's remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the biggest players in beef cattle in the state are going to be Pulaski and Barron and a couple others. Well, those are some of the biggest counties. So for us to be in number 11 with being the 8th smallest, I think is a pretty remarkable feat.
It is.
The other thing that I would mention is we're actually, and this is a statistic I didn't even know until I was looking at some of these numbers, we are actually ranked #1 in sheep, goat, wool, and small ruminant milk production.
That's amazing.
Wow, that is amazing.
So that's #1 out of 118, so I guess there's 2 counties that don't have goats in them at all. And then we're ranked number 26 in horses and ponies, mules, the equine business. We're ranked number 26 there. On the crop side, and I will say there are, to my knowledge, there are no dairies left in Boyle County. Those have left. So all the cattle that I mentioned, that's all strictly beef cattle. On the crop side of things, we have grains, beans, peas. We're ranked number 70th in the state. Tobacco, we're ranked 54th still in the state. And then the rest of these, of course, the next biggest one would be crops being hay to feed our livestock, and we're ranked 38th there. So those are a few of the numbers that I wanted to share.
Do you have the total number of acres for tobacco that we still raise here?
Let's see if I can find that for you. I think that's in here.
Just curious.
So, and this is 2017 numbers. Of course, like I said, the biggest crop was forage. Tobacco comes in at 305 acres.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I'd be curious to see where that number is after, 2020.
Yeah, 5 years later.
Yeah. We have, and then another interesting thing, a lot of times within rural communities, internet access is something that's mentioned. 72% of farms in Boyle County have access to internet. The speed of that we could discuss, but we do have access to internet, which is very fortunate for business, farms like mine where we're selling direct to consumers, different products that we raise on our property. The last thing I wanted to mention, so that's the numbers that I have as far as our production ag. The other thing that I wanted to mention is our ag businesses that are here in Boyle County. We have several, and I hope I don't leave any out, and I apologize if I do, but Pro Ag, Sales and Service on Vauxdale Lane.
Yeah.
That's an excellent location to get feed, seed, fertilizer, chemicals, any kind of agricultural inputs, fencing supplies. Meat Tractor, the local John Deere dealer here in town. We have Berkman Feeds. Berkman Feeds is something that, I travel the state a lot with my job. And Dr. Williams is someone where you mention Berkman Feeds and they immediately know Dr. Williams. I mentioned.
I think he's internationally known.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to make a statement that I couldn't back up.
Well, I can't either, but I think he is.
But yeah, I would agree with that.
He's a pretty good father-in-law too.
Yeah.
Oh, is he? Okay, all right. Okay. But I think it's pretty phenomenal what those industries are doing. You take Berkman Feeds and some of my grain goes there to be turned into chicken feed, cattle feed. I mean, they're shipping feed all over the United States, right here from Boyle County, milled right here. Not to mention the people that they employ to be able to do that. And then the last one that I wanted to mention is Central Kentucky Ag Credit. They lend in Boyle County and surrounding areas, Mercer County especially, and other areas as well. But we've got a lot of things here that are going on related to agriculture in this county, and I think like I said, I think we're working above our pay grade to be able to do that, because we're pretty blessed to be able to have what we do. The last thing that I wanted to mention, I mentioned a little bit about my job, just to tie it into rural development. I work for the Kentucky Center for Agriculture and Rural Development. It's KCARD. We love acronyms in agriculture, so KCARD is the acronym for that. And so I'm based out of Boyle County here, and then I work with 11 other people that are spread out throughout the state of Kentucky. But within that time that we've been in business since 2002, I believe it is. We were a result of the tobacco settlement that created the Kentucky Ag Development Board and Kentucky Office of Ag Policy. But last year alone, me being here in Boyle County and the other 11 of the people that I work with, we served 543 farm businesses in 101 counties in the state of Kentucky. And again, with one of us, being housed here in Boyle County. The other thing that we do with economic development is look at ways that we can utilize some of USDA's resources to help farmers. So, Boyle County doesn't have a farm service agency or a natural resource conservation service office here anymore. We go to Mercer County or we go to Stanford, depending on which service we're looking for.
That's what people refer to as the FSA office.
Yes, ma'am. Yep. So that's something that we don't have here, but we also, through my job, try to make people aware of the programs that are out there that those offices provide. And last year, we assisted, my organization assisted in providing $15,720,000 in state and federal funding to producers all over the state of Kentucky.
Wow, that's incredible.
So that's, I don't say that to be bragging. I just say that to say that there's opportunities out there, and we want our producers to know that they're there. And anyone who's listening today or online, I'd welcome them to reach out if they have any questions about that.
Awesome.
The last thing that I wanted to mention is just make an announcement that tonight we will have our Boyle County Farm Bureau Federation annual meeting. It'll be at the showroom. They're off Highway 34, London Road. And that'll be tonight starting at 7 o'clock. So I'd welcome anyone who's able and wants to join to come. We'll have a good steak, a little bit of conversation, pull our feet under a table, and socialize with one another.
Thank you for the invitation. Appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Spencer, with the future pretty close in front of us, talk for a minute or two about the youth and their involvement.
Yeah, so I appreciate you saying that, Tom, because I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, I think Boyle County is very fortunate to have a very strong FFA program here. It used to be Future Farmers of America. Now they've shortened it to another acronym, just FFA. We actually have 2 high school ag teachers here in Boyle County, in the Boyle County school system.
And one's now superintendent.
Yeah, that's right. One of our former ones just became the superintendent. We have a very strong following, I think, within that organization in the county. And again, we represent very well at the state level and nationally through that organization. The other thing that I wanted to mention too is we're one of the few counties that have a middle school FFA program. So 6th through 8th graders are still able to take the same, very similar classes based on their, understanding of where they are in their school career. Still have that. It's not only for the farmers, but it's to give people who may not have any idea what a farm is, how a farm works, exposure to what agriculture is.
And that's something relatively new because we didn't always have a middle school FFA program.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's been something
great.
that's probably within the last 10 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
Or less. It's been around through a couple different programs, and I can't speak enough for how well I think that program was run and managed here in Boyle County. We also have another program. Of course, we have Cooperative Extension Service here in Boyle County that provides resources to all landowners, business owners related to agriculture, related to I'm going to miss some of them here if I start naming them, but 4-H, Family Consumer Sciences, all those are programs that they have to help educate people on how to raise things and how to utilize things in their home or in their business, canning, food preparation, that kind of thing. And then the last thing is the investment use sale. I don't know the details on that, but we were one of the first counties, I think, to implement one of those programs where these kids participate in showing livestock through the FFA and through 4-H specifically. And then as long as they meet certain criteria throughout the year, at the end of the season, end of the show season, they have a sale where they can make money to invest into their futures.
Pay off their debts,
into paying off their debts, and being able to do it another year. Just like farming in the real
That's right, that's right. Take the good with the bad.
So that's right.
The judge and I were at that youth sale this past month, and I lost track at about $55,000 where local investors supported these kids, and that was just a tremendous program. I know it went beyond that figure.
Yeah, and I think, to your point, Tom, I think the community buy-in to make those events happen, that's the reason why they keep going. They see the value of that and helping our kids learn from experience and continue to support that. So I know I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, Spencer, thank you so much for being here today and educating us on the farming industry.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate the opportunity, and I apologize, I didn't bring any cards with me today, but I can follow up. I got an email for today's agenda.
Okay.
I'll share my contact information if
That would be great.
you want to share it to the group. That way, if you all have any questions, feel free to reach out.
All right, thank you
Thanks
so much.
Thank you all very much.
Have a great day.
Yep, you all too.
Okay, I think Bill's got us all back where we can see people on our screen now. Next on the agenda is Eboney Weathers, and it's a funding request for a TEDx event. Welcome, Eboney.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Eboney Weathers, and I'm a resident here in Danville, so I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my husband, who's a local business owner. Speaking of the city of First, we have one of the most exciting things that are happening on October 22nd. We are bringing Boyle County, Danville's very first TEDx to the community. It's going to be on a Friday night from 7 to 9. I do believe you have my funding request packet. Okay, awesome. All the information's there before you. If you're not familiar with TEDx, I'm here to answer any of your questions that you might have. What we're seeking is there, if you scroll to the middle of your sheet, we were seeking funding for $3,000. I've given you a blurb of where we are with our resources as far as what we've yet to cover. And I'm not really sure what all you need from me at this point.
Okay. Why don't you tell a little bit about TEDx, what exactly that is and what kind of event maybe this is going to be?
Awesome. So TEDx is an organization, well, TED started in, I think, 1983, somewhere around there. And they're a global organization, and what they do is they host conferences. They're really expensive. A ticket to go to a TED event is about $2,800. So what they've done is they've allowed people to come to them and get a license to host many conferences in your local community, and that's where it's branded with the X. So that's what TEDx is. So my husband and I were granted with a license, and we're going to host one here in Danville. So what you do, you open the invitation up for speakers to come. We've had speakers from all over the United States. In 45 days, I do believe we were submitted with over 150 video speaker applications. And so we have chosen our 11 speakers. That's the second attachment that you have. And what's going to happen that evening is our guests will come, they will be greeted, they will sit down, and it's almost just a night of information with the goal of transformation. So that you're hearing from each of, it's rapid fire, let me just say that. It's not one of those boring things where you go and you're like, could this have been an email? Is this going to take all night? The speakers are only going to be speaking for 8 to 11 minutes. So they're going to come in, share their ideas, what their topics are that they presented to us with the community.
Okay, so it's like a variety of topics?
Yes.
Okay, each speaker will be
Yes.
speaking about something.
There are 11
Okay.
different topics. Yes.
Do you have some examples of what the topics are?
Yes, without giving too much away. So we have, I know, don't do spoiler alerts. We have topics around energy, because our theme being disrupt, a lot of times when you hear the word disrupt, you think of it in a negative capacity.
That's what I was
But from, right, exactly. But from the standpoint that we're doing it, it's from the way of innovation. So it's looking at a mindset, a paradigm, an idea that you've always had. But these are individuals that are taking that mindset, that idea, that paradigm, but they're doing something different with it. So they're presenting a new spin on kind of an old reality or an old way of doing things. We have one about energy. We have one related to parenting, one related to being in a safe environment, how to identify whether or not the environment you're in is healthy for you. I'm trying to say it without giving too much away. We have a speaker, let me look at their faces here. Pardon me. We have a speaker that's going to be talking about photography. He's a global photographer. He's coming to share how he's impacted lives when it comes through just taking a picture and what that's like. And not doing it from the perspective of an artist, but his presentation is really from the perspective of the one looking at the picture, and just how your community changes just by the vision that you see and the power behind that. So it's a very impactful evening. Everything's positive, everything's uplifting, and there's going to be a break in the middle part so that people can get up and have snacks or whatnot. But we'll have a DJ there that's going to keep the atmosphere kind of lively as well. We are having a VIP reception for all of the dignitaries that will be present, all of the speakers. And one thing that we wanted to do to give back to Boyle County was to be a blessing to our educators. So the event is completely free for anyone in the community, but if you're a faculty at a school, a teacher in any capacity, or staff in any capacity in our school system, whether it's Boyle or Danville, you get to come to the VIP reception as well.
So it's a sort of a focus on education?
No.
Or educators?
No, it's
Okay.
not. That it's completely separate from
Okay.
educators. We just were, when we sat down and we knew we were bringing this to the community, we thought about, okay, what group within our community could we really pull in
Could
to
benefit.
Yeah,
Okay.
could not necessarily benefit, but that we could just kind of say, we appreciate you.
Okay.
Thank you for your service, and that doesn't always get recognized as much as some of the other careers.
Sounds good. Okay, so it says that you are seeking $3,000, and then there are three funding types that you want that donation for. Would this be considered a sponsorship?
Yes,
The
it
fiscal
is
court?
partnership. We are looking for the county to connect with us by way of sponsorship.
And on the professional audio videography services, it says there's 64% that's already sponsored. Is that correct?
Yes,
So-
so that $6,500 amount, that was actually one of our largest fees that we needed to pay for, is because when you look there under local benefits, the top one being the global notice with attention due to TED's reach, they have a tremendous, I think they're actually one of the largest YouTube followings. And our video, they have a lot of stipulations with how everything needs to be filmed. And so we have professional filming crew coming in that's going to film that. Well, what they're going to do is so nice. They're going to take the clips of the speakers and they're going to put our event on their national platform and on their YouTube, as long as it fits their criteria.
Okay. As a sponsor, would there be any, I guess, recognition for the fiscal court? I mean, like, would there be our county seal or anything like that?
Yes, as far as the branding,
Yeah,
yes.
branding. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So all of the logo for the county would be on all of the information that we put out. It would be electronically, as well as we've done a social push. Also, moving forward, anything that we do as far as print or newspapers or any more, I wanted to say ads, but it's not ads, television, interviews, any type of marketing whatsoever, then it would be a part of that. Absolutely.
I'm going to make a suggestion, and then it will be up to you all to decide what you want to do. I think is the three areas that she's seeking funding for, I think the one that the fiscal court could get behind would be the professional audio and videography services, because that's going to benefit the whole community once it's all put together and wrapped together, and that would just be the $2,500 request. Now, that's just my suggestion. You all can discuss it or whatever.
I forgive my allergies. I'm still
Yeah, we've all got
adjusting to
them, so-
Kentucky weather. It's like,
Everybody.
oh.
I have a question.
Okay.
Are we just going to keep accepting sponsorships throughout the whole year and ignore the budget process, or what's the stopping point on this? Because we keep, like, generally we've always had we have to have it in before the budget process. process, and I realize this may have happened after something that might have been planned before, but if we keep having to reopen the budget, it doesn't really make a point of having a budget process.
We have a line item, Magistrate Cullen, that is for community services, and that's where this money would come out of.
So we're going to allow, so people will be, so I can tell my constituents they're free to come to ask the fiscal court for money at any point if it's a community-sponsored event. Is that what it is?
Well, that's kind of what we did at our last meeting. We did a sponsorship at our last meeting, so I don't see this any different than what we did at our last meeting.
So do we
It's a
have,
community event.
how much money do we have in that pot? We've got plenty for that amount.
35,000.
Okay, so we have some money.
Judge, I had some pretty significant reservations before today. I still harbor some of those. I'd like to know a little bit more about just exactly what would unfold. I'd like to defer this to our first meeting in October, give you plenty of time if we were to move forward on it.
Okay.
I'd make that as a motion
To table
until our next meeting.
the funding, okay?
I'll second that.
All
I'd
right.
really like to know more about it. I know you're trying not to give spoiler alerts, but I just really, or spoilers, but I just really like to know more specifics.
All right, I have a
I'm
motion
gonna fund it, you know.
I'm sorry.
by Magistrate Ellis, a second by Magistrate Sleeper, and you have comment?
I did, I have a question. Is that something I can submit to you guys in private as far as what because you're wanting the individual speaker topics, to my understanding? Is that when you say additional information, is that what
Is that
you're, what you're
Yes,
wanting
yeah.
specifically? Okay, so I can provide those.
Okay.
I just don't want those available on YouTube before the event. So is that something I can submit to you guys in private that won't go public before the event?
Yeah, we don't have
Okay.
things publicized.
You know, 2 or 3 of us might get together and have some questions and submit those, and then if you respond, we'll have 2 weeks then.
I'm sorry?
Then we'd have 2 weeks to gather that information and feel a little bit more comfortable about whether or not we move forward.
So submit those by the next meeting?
Why don't you
and
submit
then-
it to me and I'll disseminate it?
Got it.
How about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, just send that information to me and then I'll make sure that it goes out to the magistrate.
And I can send the full program for the evening.
That would-
I just request that that not be released publicly because part of the
Yeah,
anticipation is the event.
right,
Very good.
right.
And I also wanted to say, just as an update, the news coverage, the interview is going live this afternoon. Actually this morning, I don't know what time it is right now, around 10:30 on WKYT.
You got 30 minutes.
So it was pre-recorded, so
Yeah.
we can all go back and watch it. But I do encourage you all to watch that because that's been pre-recorded.
That may give a lot of information too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That gives some additional information and insight as well.
All right, well,
Awesome.
Call the question.
Yes.
That.
all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. 2 weeks. We'll have it back on the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next is JJ Harris, EDA update and resolution.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity.
Welcome.
My name is J.J. Harris. I'm President and CEO of Danville Develop Danville Boyle County Corporation. That's easy for me to say, right?
It's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm here, Danville Boyle County Development Corporation. I'm here on behalf of the EDA, Terry Crowley's out of town, and just wanted to bring you up to speed on the Kentucky Product Development Initiative, the KPDI. If you recall, in February, we were awarded as a community $744,000 for the KPDI program, which is funding to go toward an 83-acre purchase of Norfolk Southern property to begin the public land side of economic development. This first portion, $744,000, is a reimbursement match for the acquisition of the property. Additional funds will become available on phase 2 of the KPDI grant of up to $2 million. So what the EDA is wanting to move forward is to secure the land by the end of the year, based on Norfolk Southern's, hey, we want this done by the end of the year, because they want the land. And then we have to do a little bit of survey and engineering because it's part of a larger parcel that has to come off, and then actually look at, there's 3 different road access options that we would have to survey and see what was the best fit and how to best get utilities to the land. What this will provide is community-owned property for economic development. It will have rail access, which we do not have through the Industrial Foundation or any other public access land for economic development. And with thoughts in mind of an intermodal transportation logistics facility. I can't go into too much more detail. That's pretty broad, but railroads, roads, bypass, big trucks, shipping, you get the picture. Logistics is very needed in all aspects of economic development, whether it's our industrial or it's just warehousing operations. It is a very good income producing opportunity, and they do create a lot of jobs. So this would be the first step in us completing the requirements of the KPDI, and the first major project that is a public partnership with Boyle County and the city of Danville. Your leadership going through this process, which started back in 2022, the application did, I think it was September 2022, vetting it through the cabinet, preparing the application, and then just your continued support is what made this possible from the Kentucky cabinet. So again, thank you. And that's the update.
Okay.
Now, I think I didn't have the opportunity to really go through the resolution, but Julie gave it to me as I came in. My understanding is that would be the next step of this.
You're committing $340,000, which is the required match to get through step 1, right? Yeah.
To match
City
the
of-
grant, yeah.
Correct. And the city of Danville has done the same. And then the $100,000 that you provided initially, and what the city provided was the 150 of that, approximately 150 of that will be committed to that already.
So
that-
EDA
that-
will be,
Yeah, that funding is already there, kind of the initial. The little 50 that's left, I didn't mean that little, but it's 50,000.
The balance.
The balance remaining will go to, the application fees, some engineering, and the initial cost of just
So
attorney
doing
fees.
business.
that kind of
projected is like 1,500 jobs or so many hundred jobs,
Yeah, so the goal.
The goal, yes.
Yeah, so economic development is a long-term process.
Right,
We're at the beginning.
right.
We come up with the concept, the idea, the project, the land, then we prepare the land, then we market the land, and then the 83 acres can support at least 500,000 square foot building or buildings, complex of buildings, and once those are full, that's the end product would be multiple buildings, expanded tax base, and lots of employment.
And that was one thing in the resolution that confused me a little bit, because when I read it, it sounded like there was construction plan as opposed to ground preparation being the first step. Terry and I have talked about the fact that we both have reservations about spec buildings and the negative aspects of having the wrong height, the wrong access, that sort of a thing. So we're only talking about land acquisition at this point.
Correct. Yes, sir.
That's a very critical point.
Yes, and you're dead on, because I'm the same way. I can build a building today, 10-foot ceilings, 100,000 square foot building. Somebody will come in tomorrow, I need 75,000 square foot with 28-foot ceilings. There's no mix or match.
That's
What I
really-
propose is pad-ready sites, and then you can do virtual buildings. I mean, you can engineer models, and you can tweak it. You can take that engineered model, walk it to the planning, do a site plan development, say, okay, we're going to develop a 100,000 square foot pad. which is your base. Then you go in, you add your footers to whatever. Your
I know.
lead time is the most important part, but
I know.
you cannot anticipate, and I would not ever recommend building, at this point, a spec building. It just doesn't make any sense.
I might be beating a dead horse because I've said this over the past 4 or 5 years. In traveling all across Kentucky, I see a lot of empty buildings, prospectively built, speculative, and all they're doing is cutting hay on that land. And that's why I have such severe reservations about any spec building ever coming at the taxpayer expense.
Yeah.
JJ,
And I'd like,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'd like to also invite our esteemed colleague who sits on the EDA board to comment on what you've learned in this process.
Yeah, I think this is an excellent development. It's a great project for the economic development of our community. When you look at the prospective job increase and what it would put into our economy, and it is a matching when we were blessed to get these funds from the state, and so I think it would behoove us to proceed with it.
JJ, can you speak to the $700 million investment as to where that figure may have came from?
So the accumulated total.
700 million is what this is.
That's what it said.
Yeah, so I think what that means is the overall development of the entire parcel at the end result. So when you do these grant applications, what is the end result? What do you envision? So like Tom said, Magistrate said, you got to begin with the process. The beginning process is the land acquisition, and then how we develop it. And then the number one thing is we as a community own and control it. There's no profiteering. This is totally public monies going for public control and access and development of property. Anything gained will be the community's benefit.
So it's the overall outlook as
Yep,
to
the
what
overall
the
outlook. So
investment will be.
that's
Okay.
how much, and I'd like to see that tomorrow, but I'm realistic. That's, again, that's an end result, long-term process. So,
Okay, so we have a resolution in support for the Economic Development Authority project utilizing the Cabinet for Kentucky Economic Development Funding Program. The Boyle County Fiscal Court will agree to contribute the amount of $340,000 to put toward the project for land acquisition, with the balance to be paid from the City of Danville and the Economic Development Authority.
yes, ma'am.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the resolution?
I make the motion, we approve the resolution.
Okay, have a motion by Magistrate Sleeper, a second by Magistrate Ellis. I will say this is not in the budget, so the $340,000 will come out of reserves. Any other discussion? Good. All right, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Thank you for your continued support. Thank you.
Thank you, JJ.
And I'm available if you have any questions later on.
We appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Jamie.
Have a good morning.
Jailer? Jailer Brian Wofford? Good morning.
So I'm here today to request, put out an RFP for a new washing machine. This is a budgeted item and it will be paid for out of the reserve account.
The price?
Well, that's what I got to send out to,
Oh.
restricted account, yes, it's approved, that's why. Normally, they were running $10,000, $12,000, but
Okay.
things now are gonna be about $17,000.
I didn't know if you already had one picked out or
No,
not.
that's what I've
Okay.
got to get the bids, we've kind of looked at.
Okay. So
And that
we'll
includes
bid
the
and
breakout?
washing machine.
That includes the disposal of the one that's there.
We can rent that as part of our.
Usually that can be
Yeah.
costly.
I don't know if they do that. I think we'll have to pack it out ourselves and take it out here.
Yeah, it depends, because it could be part of the process that they'll just remove the old equipment when they bring the new.
That's fine.
Yeah, okay. All right, do I have a motion to permit bids to go out for a new washing machine for the detention center?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Magistrate Bowden, second by Magistrate Ellis. Any discussion?
It's important.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
And then I will say, I was talking with Master Harmon this morning, I think this is one of the original washing machines that's been there since the jail was built, so. It's
Got our money's worth.
Yes,
All right.
it's leaking from the top. And then one other thing, Judge, I would request that the fiscal court consider having a special called meeting reference jail construction, so we can discuss what type of jail, size, all those kinds of things you all are wanting. I was talking with Master Ellis this morning, that kind of keeps me from having to do things 3 or 4 times, so if I have, and I can make sure that
You
Brent
can let me
Stetter
know,
Carroll.
yeah, who all you want here.
We'll have Brent Stetter Carroll here, and then the fiscal court, and then that way we can kind of lay out what you all are looking for and moving forward, so.
Would this be considered a workshop?
Workshop, yeah.
I don't, that's,
I'd say so, yeah. Okay.
Counselor, does that require a motion or anything?
Not necessarily.
No, we'll just set a date.
Good, yeah.
We'll just set a
like I
date.
said, I will be gone next week for training,
Yes.
but after that, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Probably toward
considering
the
the
end of
fact
October.
that the next General Assembly could even lift any kind of reservations on new jails, I think it's critical that we have this special call meeting.
Okay, we'll get a time set.
Thank you very much, that's all I
Motion
have.
carried on the other one, by the way.
Thank you all,
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Thanks.
Let's see, Mark Gordon's next. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Give us an update on Constitution Square.
Okay, we've been pretty busy the last few months.
Yeah.
We rekeyed all the locks and made a list of everyone who's got keys now. We painted all the hand railings. We pressure washed Governor's Circle. We had a privacy fence that blew over back in the spring. We replaced it, got it built back, put mulch out around all the trees, flower beds. We also pulled at the stage, it had like a wire around the bottom. We pulled all that off and put a pressure treated skirt around it.
Looks very nice.
We put rock around all of our cabins and the stage. We went inside of the courthouse and we had already removed the plexiglass so that people could walk on it into the courthouse. But we tore that frame out and made it look a lot better. We also went yesterday and pulled the same walls and the plexiglass out of the meeting house, so now that people can go on in those. We had the gutters cleaned out and actually installed leaf guards for those gutters, so we shouldn't have a problem with leaves jamming our gutters up. We currently have bids on sidewalks down in front of row house 1, 2, and 3. It's getting bad uneven. To take those up and relay them. And we are currently installing security cameras. Should be start on that tomorrow.
If you haven't been down to your park, you need to go down there and check it out because it looks really nice, and they've been doing a lot of hard work. Public Works and Jailer Wofford has been sending some additional help for those items that have been repaired and spruced up, and so it looks really nice.
The stage looks so much better. That's so professional what you guys have done. That's
That did make it look better, yeah. And we're asking or giving a recommendation to accept the bid from Mulberry Builders for our roofs for cabins.
You all have a copy
The
of that?
contractor is present. if you
And
have
he
any
is
questions.
present.
Okay,
Jenny,
awesome.
Questions for him?
Does it have a breather? Will it have something to breathe under the shakes?
Could you come forward? Because you're going to get several questions on that.
Just
My name is
introduce
Philip,
yourself.
and I am the commercial project manager for Mulberry Builders. We took an inspection, we got on every building, measured them up, kind of assessed the damage of the underlayments. As far as the base, as far as a recommendation for, Julie and I talked before we did this, and some buildings may not need as much. Our suggestion was, once and for all, you've got different kinds of metals on there, metals touching copper, which is going to corrode. So you've got some good things on there that are going to get damaged by some bad things. We just got through, our company just did Waveland in Lexington.
You got my attention.
Same thing you're wanting here. All the red cedar, shake. We did copper valleys, copper drip edge, copper chimney caps. It looks amazing.
Is that coated copper, coated base metal, or is that copper?
It's copper. Yes,
And the
pure copper.
treated shakes.
Treated shakes, we did not bid. We put an option in there. They're like $50 more a square.
Right.
It's worth it. You probably get 5 to 8 more years of longevity out of it, unless you're going to do every 10-year, first year 10-year treatments. You know, if you want to do that, treat it every 10 years or so, you're gonna do it. But
that would change the bid.
No.
No,
No,
it's all included.
it was included. We
The
gave you an option.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was kind of hard for us to get some answers. She was on vacation and we were directed.
We have to go to the Heritage Council for everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Which makes
And they just kept referring us to the Chapter 19 thing, and
Very vague.
very vague. So anyway, after evaluation, on the base bid cabins, you've got a double layer system, subroof. We kind of suggested leave that, but on the second layer, that's where a lot of 1x6 is what's made of, going to have to be replaced. We suggest taking that copper, or that metal drip edge off. So you've got 2 layers of drip edge with 2 layers of roofing, subroofing on there. To get to the first layer, we'd be too costly to get that metal out from under there. So we're just suggesting take the top one out, then go with the copper. It doesn't touch the other metal drip edge, so you don't have any corrosion. If you happen to go with gutters, it would conform copper to copper. So I don't think you have an issue there. The alternate buildings, there was one building, the inn, that probably was in the best condition, but by the time you repaired missing and broken, it would be so checkered, it'd probably cost more than just to strip it and do it.
Are there any environmental issues on the disposal of those heavily mossed shingles or anything?
No, those things have cured. They're about probably 15 years too late to be replaced.
Amen.
Yeah.
Where will you be able to dispose those?
Lexington.
Okay. The judge and I were at one of the committee meetings of the Constitution Square Committee just a week or so ago. Are the materials available now with all the delays in getting things?
Well, they're going to tell us 6 to 8 weeks, and it's going to take 3, probably.
Are you planning to start before snow flies, or?
I would hope so.
That's wonderful news, because
we can tackle it pretty quickly.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Let me make sure and give you my card.
And so the breather sheet, is there one before you put
There
it?
is a breather sheet.
Okay.
It's a underlayment made for that.
Preserves
And
the
then,
life.
yeah, and while we do this project, we with permission, we'll have a drone footage of it that all of y'all can access to. Intermediate pictures of every layer we do.
Okay.
We do it for our business and we do it for your all's access. And at the end, we'll have before, during, and after drone footage that you can use. We can send it to you. You can we'll give you copies for it, for any promotions you all want to do.
Awesome.
But we put it on our Instagram and Facebook and all that. You can see all of our projects.
That'll be wonderful, because I'm sure that many Boyle Countyans don't realize the significance of Constitution Square. That is where we credit the Kentucky Constitution having been written by Judge Samuel McDowell, whose papers to become federal judge were signed by a guy named George Washington.
Right.
And our now deceased 102-year-old Kentucky historian laureate said that Constitution opened up the United States westward movement. So that's how important this is to me, to all Boyle Countyans.
Right.
And what we're thrilled to have you doing.
Well, we're excited to do it. It's a wonderful little place, and they're going to notice the copper and the new roofs on there, again, from the road.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Well, we appreciate you bidding, and as Mark said, he is recommending Mulberry as the company. If you all will look at your sheets, you can see that the money has been budgeted in 2 different places. So we budgeted the funding for the cabins out of the ARPA money, and then we have also budgeted in the general fund for the roofs of the row houses and the other buildings. So it'll be coming out of 2 different pots of money. And in the end, there should be some left over. So
Judge, I move acceptance of the Mulberry bids for the roofs.
Okay, thank you.
Can we clarify on the alternates that we're proposing to do everything except the row houses?
Okay.
So we are not going to do alternate 5?
We are yes, we don't have enough money to do alternate number 5, which is the row houses
Okay.
Wellsville.
All right.
So we're proposing that we move 58,000 that we estimate will be left over from ARPA, so that we can do 1 more building, and that's everything except the row houses.
Okay.
And then if Philip comes into something and we need to make some adjustments, we can.
Thank you for that clarification. Yes, thank you very much. Motion by Magistrate Ellis, second by Magistrate Bodner to accept the bid from Mulberry with the explanation from Julie on how that is going to work out of the 2 different funds. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Anything else? Is he good?
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
This is a big deal, y'all.
Yeah, it is. This is going to be exciting. Exciting. Moving on. All right, next is our county surveyor, Rich Murphy, and he has a survey for us. Welcome.
Thank you.
This big paper underneath your...
Yeah, I just wanted to give an update on, a while back, we were asked to provide a survey for the White's Park and the county courthouse. So I just wanted to give, it's been a little while since that kind of went through, and wanted to give you an update on both of those, where we are in the process. Excuse me. The one that's I have submitted there is our final copy of the White's Park. That's the park next to the Veterans Memorial Park on the by the western bypass side. We've completed that survey. It's been recorded already in the clerk's office, and I've given all of you copies of that to look at. Just to answer any questions you may have about it. The White's Park there, I think we've got everything on there. We've found we've found some of the existing corners out there, set some new corners, so it's a complete survey. We feel very good with how the survey turned out. There is, as pretty much everybody knew, there is a little maintenance building that was over the line. I think that was kind of, that's called out there. And there is a picnic pavilion and a restroom building on that one side that is on the county property there as well. The big if that I had with the survey is the roadways that go through that. They're all private roads. And when I was talking with Julie, we got Roger on the phone, Roger Johnson, and we were talking about trying to find out if there's any right-of-ways associated with those roads. And to his knowledge, there was no right-of-ways. They're pretty much private roads. So right now, the main access through the park is off of 127. There's the road that the main access road that comes up to there. But I'm not sure as far as how far that right-of-way goes up to connect to the property, because it kind of goes through the city parcel to get to the county parcel. But there is, through Veterans Memorial Park, there's a frontage road that goes directly, it's a 50-foot frontage road that goes directly behind the bypass right-of-way. So it butts up against the right-of-way for the 127. There's a 50-foot frontage road access. So there is legal access through that frontage road going through Veterans Memorial. If anything ever becomes an issue, there is the access through the Veterans Memorial Park, which is also fiscal court-owned property. So, they're
So the
both
one
owned.
pavilion down there by the Veterans Memorial, that's on the city property then?
No, that's, that one is, that was outside, we were asked to do the survey for the White's Park, but that pavilion is on the Veterans Memorial parcel, which is the fiscal court owned as well.
Oh, okay, so it's on the Veterans.
We separated those
Memorial
into
Park.
two parcels.
Two deeds, yeah.
A couple years ago.
Okay.
Yes, and the, during the process of this survey, we did find all the corners for the Veterans Park parcel as well. So
Okay.
we know where that, if that ever becomes an issue with anything, we know exactly where those property
Okay.
lines are as well.
So
I just wanted to clarify that.
Is this extending, like, you go and take a right past the metal building or whatever that extends onto the Boyle County property? I guess that big long strip right there, is that behind the tennis court?
Exactly, that's the one that goes right up to those new tennis courts. They, the road has been resurfaced, and they planted a row of like smaller sapling ginkgo trees, and there's sidewalks going back. That row of ginkgo trees is pretty much right at the property line going through there.
Because that road's kind of confusing, because I've been playing tennis and I see people that they go behind the tennis courts and then like it just ends.
They have that,
and then everybody drives in the grass.
They have those bollards up there blocking that, and you can see a very well-worn path where people are going down that road and kind of going around the bollards through the grass to get to the other road there.
That's not good.
But it's, yeah, I think at one point that little access may have been to get access to that other road down there, and I think it's been since, you know, they have the little bollards blocking that access, so it just kind of goes down there, and it is a little awkward because there's no real place. It's just a pretty narrow paved road that goes down there, and it just ends. There's
Turn around, you can't
There's
really
no turn around.
unless you're in the grass, right?
The road isn't wide enough to turn around on, so it's, you know, I'm not sure if the construction's complete or what the plan was down on that end, but they could really use a turnaround or something down there if they don't want people cutting through going around,
I
because
don't
there's,
know, do you have any addition to that, Commissioner? Okay.
because it kind of goes down there, and it just, that's probably why a lot of people are just kind of going around it, is because there's not really a good area to turn around if they would drive down through there. But anyway, that's what we've got for that park, and that does go down to the tennis courts area there.
Okay.
I want to give an update. First of all, is there any questions on this
Yeah,
White's
John,
Park?
any questions on White's Park
Right.
survey?
No, I mean, just answer that question.
Okay.
That we got to figure out something with that road.
Yeah.
With
That's
the
not
city.
good.
Yeah.
Because those things that block it, I don't know. I'm seeing lots of people just, like I said,
Just go around.
cut through the grass and
Yeah.
That's something we can talk to them about.
maybe you close that road altogether just because, I don't know, people are walking down to the tennis courts or
Yeah.
people coming from the soccer fields. That could be a risk of a child getting hit by a car. So
Yeah.
maybe they should close that road altogether.
And we do have all, if anyone goes out there, we do have all the property corners. We have stakes. It's all marked up for visual right now. I don't know how long it will last, but it is all marked up where the property corners are for visual.
Well, thank you.
The second one was the courthouse property survey. I know there's been a lot of, that's kind of dragged on a little bit. We've been involved with it for a while, but we kind of put that one on pause till all the construction was done around the site. We didn't want, for one, we wanted to be able to, if there was any new construction going on, we wanted to be able to represent that in our survey data. And we also wanted to make sure that any of the property corners that we set around there wasn't going to get ripped out and disturbed. So we waited till the construction was done, and we finished the site survey of this. I was hoping to have the plat, the recorded thing to give to you this time too, but it'll be ready for the next fiscal court meeting. So I'll be
Can
able
we put you on for 2 weeks then?
Yes, if you could put me on for 2 weeks, we will have the other one to present as well.
Okay.
And it was a very tricky courthouse property, a lot of history, and I would love, I talked a little bit with Magistrate Ellis there about it, about some of the history, and Julie as well. There's a lot of history with this parcel, and it was just, the more you uncover, I had to trace back the records. It was a very difficult parcel to survey because it used to be part of Mercer County, so part of my research, I had to go to Mercer to pull deeds way back in the 1800s pull-up deeds from that. And then I had, there's an old cemetery that was right under the air conditioning units that was moved by ordinance. And so there's a lot of going through different departments, pulling old city ordinances where all these little things were resolved.
So just like Perryville, we can have a ghost walk behind the courthouse.
And I didn't realize there was, the old jail was actually on the very front side of the building. Then they moved it to the back side. So there was actually 2 different jail sites on this property originally. And that's what kind of threw me, because when I was talking to some people about the jail, it was all back on the back corner here. But the original jail was up closer to the road, almost where this, is that 4th Street on that side? That 4th Street entrance there, that's almost right where the original jail was. So, kind of excited because there's just so much history that maybe next meeting like that I could talk a little bit about the history and the things that I found. But I apologize for not having it done because we do have all the corners on the property set for the courthouse. So if anyone's interested, there is, we do have them, they're marked up and I can show anyone if anybody is interested where the corners actually are, because the more people that know and have visualized where the corners are, if anything gets knocked out through construction, the oral evidence is just as important, as other stuff. So the more people that are very aware, that could be like, oh, this is where I know this is the surveyor person who surveyed this said this is a corner, I remember it. So that just helps having that little knowledge of where the stuff is. So if anybody is interested, just let me know and I'll by all means do a walkthrough, show you exactly what we got.
Okay.
There are going to be a couple little, I think I've talked with Julie and Trilly a little bit about some of the little things that are going to need resolved, that they're working on resolving. And if you want, I could discuss that at some point, but I'll hold off kind of
till we actually get the survey.
Till we get the survey, it'll be a little easier to see the different things then too.
That'd be fine.
But anyway, I just want to ask, I know it's been out there for a while, and I just wanted to give an update on that too. So.
Well, we look forward to seeing that in 2 weeks and hearing the history.
Yes, I will be ready for it then. And if you have any questions or need any survey stuff, let me know.
You got questions?
I just got the Alum Springs Convenience Center. When will you be looking at that?
I've been looking at it. I will get a proposal out to that before the end of the week.
Okay.
And I'll copy on that. So we're getting it. That's going to be a fun one too. It's like about 83 acres and stuff like that. And it's
a lot of history too.
It's got a lot of history in it.
We will keep you busy.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Rick.
All right, you have everyone?
Appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
All right. Magistrate Sleeper, can you see if Casey's out there, please? Come on in. Welcome.
Hello. I'll be real quick. It's the main reason I'm here is just to I want you all to know, so you all can tell your constituents and everybody else that that you come in contact with of the 6 voting locations that we have in the upcoming election. We have taken the fire department on Lebanon Road off the list, and we've replaced it with the showroom. So I'm trying to get that information out there as much as possible. I'm trying to talk as many places as I can to get the word out. I feel like the best way to get the word out is just to keep telling people, because social media only reaches whoever's on social media, and the newspaper only reaches whoever reads the newspaper.
Are you doing radio too?
So I'm going to do some radio. Okay. I've been on the radio. I'm going to be on the radio some more, and I'm also planning on putting a few commercials out to get it out. Because you'll be amazed how many people still don't realize that they can vote at any of the locations, that it's not just one in particular. I already had a person come in the office this morning and was surprised that they could vote at any of the 6 locations. So that's the only reason I'm here. I'm not asking for nothing or need anything.
Informational purposes.
I just want you all to get the word out, and maybe the people that's watching the fiscal court meeting, just get the word out that inter-county is only going to be election day now. We're still using inter-county energy, but it's only going to be for election day. We've moved early voting and election day voting to the showroom, which I've got. I'm in the process of having signs made I'm going to put out in front of the fire department that directs them to the showroom. And I've got a sign made for inter-county energy that's going to direct them from there to the showroom during early voting. So we're gonna do as much as we can. I'm gonna post up flags and stuff at the showroom to make it real visible. So that way people kind of be surprised
Awesome location.
when they see.
It
you know,
is
just
great.
think it's- I just think, of course, you know, I can't thank the Mullins family for letting the county use that location. It's just such a great location to get in and out of, parking. There's going to be one way in, one way out. There's going to be no backtracking during the election process. So once you get your ballot, you're going to move on to the next stage and eventually just walk out the side door there where there's no confusion going back and forth or anything like that. So if anybody's got any questions for me, that's it. Of course, everybody knows that absentee ballot started on Saturday. We're in the process. I think we've had 65 so far, so which is
Good.
pretty good for being only Tuesday.
Voter registration continues to October 7th.
October 10th.
10th.
You can either change your party or update your information, anything like that, or register to vote up until the 10th.
Have we been in the 2 high schools?
I have not been to high school.
I know years ago some of us participated in that, and it was really very fruitful. And
Yeah, that's part of the process that I'm going to in the future. Plan on getting into the high schools where we can have a class and kind of teach high school students the process, because I think a lot of them don't know the process of what it entails. I'm getting posters made up to have posted in the high schools where they can use their phones to screenshot a barcode or whatever, and it pulls up and takes them right where they need to register to vote. So
Let me know and I'll help you.
okay,
6 weeks from today.
Well, I don't think it's going to happen between now and
I
the general election, but I do plan on in the future having to where kind of like where people go out and talk about, you know, drunk driving and stuff like that. Kind of have maybe a class or something.
How to vote.
How to vote.
Yeah, how to
you know,
register,
what's an election about and stuff like that. Just stuff that some of us take for granted because we've been involved in it, and a lot of people just never got involved in it growing up, or their parents never did. So it's not a big issue to them. But I feel like if we get out there and you know, introduce them to it, that they'll take it with it and vote. So
What about your early absentee voting?
early absentee, you talking about?
Or just early voting.
The 6 days?
It's going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You're still doing that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
That's still an option. Okay.
Yes, that'll be an option. And then,
Reason, yeah.
oh yeah, you have to have, like right now during absentee voting, you have to fit one of the categories. Most of the ones we get right now are either due to a disability or age, sickness, something of that nature. And then of course, excused in person, you have to have a reason fitting. You're not going to be in town or something of that nature. So, but then early voting, anybody can vote, like the 2nd through the 4th. So
And that information can be found on your Facebook page
it can
or
be found on
website?
Facebook, county website, Secretary of State's website.
Okay.
And then I'll be posting in the newspaper periodically.
Okay. Just for those listening, that way they know where to go.
Yep. Appreciate it. That's all I got.
All right, well, thanks, sir.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate the information. Okay, Bull County Treasurer Darlene Lanham, quarterly report.
All right. Hi.
Hi.
This has been a long time coming. And we've had a lot of long meetings lately, so. I put in your packets a reconciliation and a summary report for the 22-23 year and also for the 21-22 year. That's for those of you who weren't here at the end of last year, and you could just do just kind of check back and see where things were. The reconciliation is essentially the bank accounts and where they are, what the ending balance was at the end of the year. The summary is basically all of our receipts and disbursements and where they ended up, how they compare throughout the year.
And end of the year being 6/30/23.
Yes, end of year being 6/30/23. Fiscal year, not calendar year.
Right, right.
But, I also included a list of items that we've acquired during FY 22-23, which I thought was a fairly impressive list of items, amounting to almost $1.5 million worth of, well, actually, it's gonna be over that if you really include everything. I don't have a few of the numbers on there, because I really just didn't, they're not completely fulfilled yet, so I didn't include part of those. But, I mean, there's a large list of new vehicles we were able to acquire. 2 new ambulances, new sheriff's vehicles, and to have everything that we've acquired, plus still have our ending bank balances in the same ballpark as where we were last year. I think it was pretty impressive. You know, it was very, very helpful to have our ARPA money. It gave us a way to do a lot of things that we weren't going to be able to do. We've been able to help out a lot of different areas, but we've also been able to acquire things for ourselves that we needed. So, if anybody has any questions.
It's a familiar refrain with me. Mike, how are we doing on uncompensated care this year?
You mean as far as
Collections?
Collections? We turn over, you know, without looking at the numbers, about 20 to 30,000 a month.
So we're still up to the nearly 300 by the end of the year?
Yeah, it's significant amounts.
It's such a critical service, and we need to do all we can to get it fully funded.
Well, I think you provided us with a great snapshot of all of our funds and our bank accounts. Do y'all have any questions or comments for our treasurer?
Good job.
All right, thank you.
Also, I have several budget amendments that I was bringing forward. One of which I'm just going to mention again because it's already been through court the first time, but it was delayed in the signing at DLG. So it is the county road aid money that is for $738,530.40. It'll be going through for a second reading on the 10th. I also have the House Bill 1 election reimbursement money that we voted on, the new line item today, $143,443. I'm going to skip that one for a second. Okay, prior year carryovers. Those are the difference between my estimated amount when I take a big guess in March as to how much we'll end up with versus what we actually end up with in June. And sometimes I get surprised by different monies that come in at the last minute or different expenses that go out. So that basically covers just catching those up and adding those back into our system or taking those out of our system so that we're on balance with our bank. The last one it's a kind of a new one that I'm having to do. In essence, there was an issue with the auditor's office that they wanted me to change and clarify certain things with our occupational tax. And so we had to change some numbers around, move some numbers, and then I had to, because we didn't normally budget ahead of time, because we do a dual collection for the city of Danville and for Boyle County. They're asking me to basically project and guess, basically budget in what we think we'll get. So this is a budgeted amount under their recommendation at DLG through possibly March. And then at that point in time, we'll look at it again and see if we need to adjust. So that is what that budget amendment's for. So it's just giving money into the net profit, payroll taxes for Boyle and for Danville.
You said we've already done these. Is there one that we need to take action on today?
It's in here, it's in your, you should have a copy of it.
These three, the ones that say copy, need to be approved today.
Yes, the one that says occupational tax, then there was 2 pages for the prior year carryover.
Okay.
And another one for the election. And yeah, those 3.
Okay. You want them done individually or collectively?
However you wish.
All right, well, they are 3 separate ordinance numbers, so let's just do them individually.
Okay.
All right, so the first one is the Occupational Tax Administration ordinance relating to the annual budget and amendment. Have a motion to approve? Okay, second?
Second.
All right. Have a motion by Magistrate Bodner, second by Magistrate Harmon. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Next one is the House Bill 1 Election Equipment, order relating to the annual budget and amendment. Need a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Need a second? Okay, have a motion by Magistrate Sleeper, a second by Magistrate Harmon. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Okay, the third one is the prior year carryover, ordinance relating to the annual budget and amendment. Need a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Have a motion by Magistrate Bodner, a second by Magistrate Harmon. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. I have one last item that, we actually met with someone about. We have a bank account, and I know it's one that we've discussed a couple of times. But it's basically sitting there right now making 0.15% interest. And I would like to seek permission. Right now, it's at $292,127.11. I would like to seek permission to put this into a 7-month CD that is drawing, I'm sorry, what was it, 5.37%?
Yes.
Interest.
Absolutely. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Magistrate Bodner, a second by Magistrate Ellis to move the bank account into a 7-month CD. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you for being our watchdog. All right, at this time, I would like to entertain a motion to go into executive session pursuant to KRS 61.810, paragraph 1, paragraph B, deliberations on the future acquisition or sale of real property by a public agency, but only when publicity would be likely to affect the value of a specific piece of property to be acquired for public use or to be sold by a public agency.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Magistrate Ellis, a second by Magistrate Sleeper to go into executive session. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? All right, I would like to ask everyone.
Did you text him?
I have.
Okay.
That would be a good bill. Have you seen some of like the,
Okay, we are back in regular session. I need a motion to return to regular session.
So moved.
Second? Okay, I have a motion by Magistrate Sleeper, a second by Magistrate Bodner, to return to regular session with no action being taken. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, do we have a motion? Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion to authorize County Judge Executive to purchase the property at 1331 Lebanon Road, not to exceed $539,175, and that is subject to title opinion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All right. I have a motion by Magistrate Sleeper, second by Magistrate Cullen, and any discussion on that? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. And do we need to add something to that? Okay. All right. Just want to make sure.
once you let, just in case, let one of the other ones be the second instead of Jason, just anybody like questions or whatever.
Barry seconded too. So.
Well,
Barry actually said.
It's been advertised that he.
I know, but I'm just saying, just for.
He's good.
Well, Barry actually, I heard.
Barry actually
before.
preceded Jason.
Okay, we will correct that. Motion being made by Magistrate Sleeper, second by Magistrate Harmon. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Sorry, Jason, I was trying to get you in there. All right, we're ready for magistrate reports. Magistrate Sleeper, you want to start today?
Sure. We do not, we would normally be due for our Animal Control and Solid Waste Committee reports, but we had to reschedule because I had a conflict with the EDA during our regular committee meeting time, and also Magistrate Gay was out of town. So we don't now have those reports today, but we'll present them at the next meeting after we have those meetings rescheduled.
Thank you for letting us know.
Okay. I went to the Solid Waste Coordinators of Kentucky Conference at Lake Cumberland. It was a very interesting and informative conference. Some interesting, innovative ideas regarding recycling and other solid waste issues. And Angie Muncie, we have a rock star in her. And you could see the wheels turning in her head when some of these speakers were sharing some ideas they have about some innovative recycling things and such. So looking forward to presenting more on those later. I toured Happy Paws and got a first-hand look at their spay and neuter program and what their operation is, their facility and everything. And I appreciate them and they would like all of the magistrates to come, maybe one or two at the time at the most. If you haven't done so already, contact, forgot the director's name.
Katie Turbyfield.
Katie Turbyfield. Contact her and she can set up an appointment and give you a good tour. The day I was there, they had, I think it was 24 cats and 8 dogs, so it was a large volume. That wasn't a typical day, but it was large.
It's a great facility.
Appreciate it. It is great. The work they're doing is really great. And then went to the Constitution Square Festival, and it was a great time, and saw the improvements made there, and it was great. Good time. Last night we had our Citizens Animal Care Control Advisory Committee, or if you want to know that acronym, CAC. I kind of like saying it kind of rolls off the tongue, CAC. But anyway, very productive meeting. We are seeing some real networking taking place of information and resources. It's really amazing how things, and we're seeing positive developments on both animal control and humane society sides of the matter, and the people are just really enthusiastic about what's going on in our initiative in improving and enhancing our animal control operations. Met with the EDA met on the 18th of September, and JJ pretty much covered everything that we talked about, other than we're still working on tweaking the bylaws, getting them to be where they need to be, And that's all I recall from that meeting, I think so. Let's see. And that's it.
All right, thank you, sir. Magistrate Ellis?
Thank you. Both Roger Johnson, Director of Public Works, and I totally recall that US 37 Portland Road was to be paid with our surplus funds this year. I've written twice now to the state, and the first time they said, no, it's not in the plan until next year. And I've written a second time, and as usual, I'm frustrated that it's taking too long to get a response on these issues. Judge, I'd like for you and I to get on the phone to Kelly Baker and get a clarification on that, because I've been hounded about Portland Road for at least 3 years, and it's terrible, and it's going to cause an accident with all the poor patching that they've had to do over time. So I'm very frustrated about that, but I totally agree with Roger's recollection that it was committed to be done this year, and we still have time before snow flies. Good news on the Crawford House. The state has released it. It will be deaccessioned in October, and we believe there are at least 2 major, very interested parties who will be bidding to take that over, save it for posterity, and get it restored to meet state requirements on that sort of thing. Friday, I will be going for another annexation meeting. It's really critical that we keep up with what they're doing there, because in the last one, we found that there does not have to be a contiguous piece of property for cities to hopscotch over and grab something that they want, which was a revelation to many of the people in the room. And so we have to be all the more vigilant. When this comes up, it's going to be the sentiment of 415 or 20 cities versus the sentiment of 120 counties. And we're all going to have to be very vigilant. Hopefully know our state legislators and representatives and others in state government to persuade them that our interests need to be protected with whatever comes out of the 2024 session. Judge, few people know this, but I had the honor and privilege of working 2 years on staff with Brereton Jones, and my wife and I went yesterday to the rotunda for the public viewing, and I would like to add him, Judge Brereton Jones, as one of those when we adjourn in his honor. And that takes care of my report.
Thank you, sir. All right. Mr. Bowden?
Yes, just wanted to remind everybody that the community meeting tonight at Junction City at 5:30 at City Hall. It's the listening meeting for the comprehensive plan update for the county. There's also one October the 4th at Junction City, and then Parksville, there's one at the Parksville Church Annex on October the 12th at 6 p.m. The state did put a new culvert on 300, so hopefully it will help ease some of the flooding on 300 and the Crosspike, Parksville Crosspike. We will see how that works out. There will be trunk or treat at Junction City. I believe they decided on Halloween night, the 31st, which is still a ways away. And I believe they thought it was 5 to 7. I'm not positive about the times.
Never too early to plan your costume.
Never too early. Never too early. And Junction City's fire department's going to have a chili cook-off on October the 14th from 5 to 8, and the benefits go to the fire department. And let's see, there was an accident at the Parks and Recs with one of the soccer goals falling on a young lady, and she's been at UK, so it's been a real serious thing, and I'm working with Josh. We've got some temporary things done with the goals to keep them from doing that ever again, but I'm still going to work with him, see him today about what we can do to permanently keep that from ever happening again. And
Very unfortunate.
and we're wishing her the speedy recovery. Let's see, also my grandson Avery Bodner was one of the people in the helicopter, the incident that they did. What do they call that when they It's
Yeah.
a reenactment.
Prep rally for life.
Prep Rally for Life. I
Prep
couldn't
Rally for Life,
remember
yeah.
that. And he was, I didn't like seeing them with, but they really did him up good. He looked real bummed up, so, but it was a really good activity for the kids.
Yeah.
To help them with realizing the consequences of impaired driving, so.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Harmon?
Figured you put John up in that.
I can do it.
I have nothing.
Good? Everything's good
I
in your
got
world?
both 5, 20/40.
Oh, that's good.
Not gonna need any reading glasses so far.
All right. Good deal.
Sure makes reading nice.
Yes, yes. That's very good. Very good. Well, we're happy for you. Yeah. Magistrate Cullen, do you have a report?
Just real quick, wanted to see if we've gotten any word back from District 7 about coming in to talk about 52, and any progress there, and also hopefully get an update soon on the bridge for South Buster Pike.
I am working on dates that we can correlate with them, so I'll let you know real soon when they'll be coming.
Wonderful.
All right. County Attorney.
Yes, Trilly and I got to participate in the prep rally. I thought it was a really good event. Didn't expect to speak or anything, but I had to do a little filler time, and it was good. It was really good. I hope that the students got something out of it. But just for me, it was kind of surreal just seeing the accident scene and like kids, and the actors were really good, like as far as crying and stuff. So I mean, it made it seem really real, but kind of sent shivers down my spine. So I think it was a really great event, and I'm glad that I was included in that. I even got sunburned. It was pretty hot out there. But also, I want to point out, not this weekend, but next weekend, the Bourbon Chase comes through Danville again. So everybody needs to just be aware of people running out in the middle of the night on our streets in Danville, on our highways in Danville, because I mean, every time I've run, I've had to dodge a car or two. And, luckily, when you run, you can see them coming, but you know, when you're riding that bike, hit you from behind, you don't see it coming. So just be really cognizant, everyone, of these runners, and also, you know, welcome them to our town, because I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, this is a big stop for exchange for the Bourbon Chase, and I can't be in it this year, but I've participated in prior years, and it's great. And I don't know, like, what our downtown situation is going to be. I mean, last year, about a week or two before the event, they tore up the sidewalk and started working on it. And,
They're going to close 4th Street, I have heard, from Main to Broadway.
okay, well,
I'm not sure about Main Street. I can't remember what they said.
well, Main Street is what it, you know, they go through
Yeah.
Main Street. That's the exchange is always like right here at the courthouse. So hopefully, because I see where they've scraped the road or whatever, it looks like maybe they're going to pave really soon. Hopefully, they got a week.
I thought it was tomorrow night or
Well, that's
tonight.
great.
The schedule's out, but I can't remember what the dates were.
Well, that'll be great if they do that, because I mean, it's go right through, right in front of the courthouse, and so. Other than that, yesterday I got to spend time at the state golf championships in Calvert City for my daughter. It's really special to get to go to that, and she didn't qualify on to the next round, but I thought she did well, and so I'm really proud of her. And Hannah Bischoff, who they both from the Boyle County team qualified for state.
Great.
Awesome. All right. Julie?
I don't have anything.
Good. Darlene? Good. Okay, well, I'll close this out. So yesterday I attended the open house ribbon cutting for Healthy Kids Clinic out on Horloway Drive. If any of you had Dr. Horn or Dr. Overstreet or any of those as a doctor, it's in the basement of that building. So same building, but they've just remodeled it for a kids clinic. It was really nice. I think they're part of Cumberland. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, Cumberland.
Okay. I think they're part of that, but it was a really nice facility, the way they have it set up, and it will be strictly for kids. So, Paula mentioned tonight is Junction City Community Meeting. Cherryville will have another one on Thursday night, and it will be at 6 o'clock at Cherryville City Hall. Then in first weekend of October, Tom, you usually tell us about Cherryville commemoration.
I was remiss in not bringing
That's
that up.
coming up, and then the weekend following that will be the Forkland Festival. Let's see, our county picnic is this Saturday from 11 to 2 at Millennium Park. So if you haven't RSVP'd to Katina, let her know how many will be attending. It is a family event. We'll have games. We're going to grill some hamburgers and hot dogs, and everybody just bring potluck. Let's see, let me make sure that was everything else. Okay, and then also I would like to request, yesterday I attended the funeral for Constable Randall Riley. He was constable of the 5th District, and I'd like to request that we adjourn also in memory of him, and we will be sending his family a certificate of the action that we have taken. So that would be 2 in memory of Randall Riley and also Governor Griffin Jones.
Thank you, Judge.
And do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Have a motion by Magistrate Ellis, a second by Magistrate Sleeper. All those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. We're adjourned.
Really?
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you all. Have a good day.